Historically, the African continent has been known to harbor some of the world's oldest ethnic groups. Oftentimes, African ethnic groups have been painted in a very negative light via the dark continent trope. Even though this has affected how Africa and Africans have been viewed and treated, today, it's become increasingly popular to celebrate Africa's various ethnic groups. This started relatively recently, largely due to the social media and no doubt the Black Panther movie. More and more information is coming out about African ethnic groups that rid us of the old dark continent idea. So we have to ask ourselves, in this new age, who are the most celebrated African ethnic groups on a global level? Today, I'm going to reveal the top 10 most popular African ethnic groups worldwide. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And as always, if you want to support the Home Team, you can do so on patreon.com. Also, go to afrographics.com, a website where you can get helpful, illustrative infographics summarizing African history. All the basic information you need is neatly compiled for you there. It's a really good resource and introduction to African history for beginners. The link to Patreon and Afrographics is in the description box below. Now, this list is going strictly based on popularity, so it is indeed a popularity contest. It's not really based on contributions or anything, but contributions to world culture or civilization does help in a particular ethnic group's overall popularity. The list is going to be largely based on the popularity of African ethnic groups in the Western Hemisphere, so feel free to add your own personal list in the comment section. Also, our focus will be on the African ethnic groups below the Sahara. Really looking forward to what you guys come up with. So let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10, we have the Amhara of Ethiopia. Now, this may surprise some of you that the Amhara are barely making the top 10, but think about it this way. Ethiopians in general are a very popular African nation. In fact, the name Ethiopian was used by outsiders to refer to all Africans in ancient times at one point. Even though they have this popularity, it's rare that anyone around the globe could actually name a particular Ethiopian ethnic group. Most of the Ethiopians in the Western Hemisphere are Amhara, and they certainly made a name for themselves. They're believed to number around 19 million people. The Amhara have a very elaborate and glorious history beginning with the Abyssinian Empire, and since then, they've dominated Ethiopian politics and government for quite some time. In all honesty, if the Amhara were called the Ethiopian people instead of the Amhara, they would no doubt be at least top 3. At number 9, we have the Dinka people of South Sudan. The Dinka are the largest Nilotic ethnic group in South Sudan, numbering around 4.5 million people. The Dinka, since ancient times, have always been active in Nile Valley civilization, including Egypt and Kush. They apparently even adopted some Nubian vocabulary. Unfortunately, the Dinka came to be known on the world stage largely due to the Boer massacre, where an estimated 2,000 Dinka were killed. Many Dinka were forced to flee and take refuge around the globe. The Dinka are a quite distinct group of people. Upon first sight, you certainly cannot miss a Dinka. They have one of the most, if not the most unique features in all of Africa. One of the most popular Dinka individuals is Alek, and she's been hailed for her influence on the perception of beauty in the fashion industry. Other Dinka models have also helped raise the international profile of Dinka people. At number 8, we have the Fulani. The Fulani number around 40 million people, and they're one of the largest ethnic groups in West Africa. The origin of the Fulani people has been a big topic of debate because they tend to have distinct features that are set apart from many other West African ethnic groups. Their unique phenotype has constantly been discussed in books, medieval travel blogs, and even today's social media. The Fulani played a role in shaping West Africa upon their conversion to Islam, creating various kingdoms and empires. Ironically, the Fulani on an international level can be seen as being the most beloved and the most ridiculed ethnic group in West Africa. Their movement throughout the African continent has certainly given them fame and fortune. The Fulani no doubt have the most consistent presence on the continent of Africa, being numerous in many West, Central, and Eastern African countries. This presence alone is why they make the list. At number 7, we have the Hutu. The The Hutu are a Bantu ethnic group that inhabit the Great Lakes region of Eastern Africa, particularly the countries of Burundi and Rwanda. The Hutu are believed to have migrated to that region during the Bantu expansion. Their presence is very ancient. Unfortunately, the Hutu are somewhat infamous due to the Rwandan genocide, where they systematically killed hundreds upon thousands of Rwandans, mostly Tutsis. Because of this horrific event, the Hutu are known throughout the world, and a movie was even made concerning the event. They not only became infamous, but their victims became seen on the world stage as well, and that brings us to our next ethnic group. Coming in at number 6, we have the Tutsi. The Tutsi number around 2.5 million in the Central African states of Rwanda and Burundi. The Tutsi seem to have descended from a Nilotic population that migrated to the region of Rwanda. This original Nilotic population were cattle herders who traveled and picked up some cultural elements from Africans in the surrounding area. They later began to mix with some Hutu populations, and the Tutsi identity began to form. Unfortunately, similar to the Dinka people of South Sudan, the Tutsi are known worldwide as the victims of the Rwandan genocide. Breaking our top 5, we have the Somali. The Somali are one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. Millions live in a territory that stretches northern Kenya to Djibouti. They're unique because the Somali are one of the few ethnic groups that single-handedly define a nation, the nation of Somalia. The overwhelming majority of Somali people are Sunni Muslim, and in the US they form a sizable population in Minnesota. The Somali have become a sort of household name, particularly in the Western Hemisphere, and they've made inroads into American society, Ilhan Omar becoming the first Somali elected to the United States Congress. For number 4, we have the Mandinka, or more popularly known as the Mandingo. The Mandinka are a major ethnic group in West Africa and are estimated to contain around 11 million people. The Mandinka descend from the larger linguistic family of the Mande group. Their claim to fame is their major contribution to West African civilization. They had tremendous influence over the development of West African statehood and greatly influenced the region. In other words, you can't speak on West African civilization and not mention the Mandinka. The popularity of the Mandinka is unique because their fame isn't recent like most other African ethnic groups. The Mandinka were popular since medieval times, largely due to their interaction with the Arab world, and no doubt because of the wealthiest man in human history, the Mandinka king Mansa Musa, and the legendary city of Timbuktu. Later, after their empire fell, the Empire of Mali, many rogue soldiers raided the coastline of West Africa, creating hybrid kingdoms and getting caught up in the Atlantic slave trade. Their reputation as warriors preceded them even in slavery, as the popular term Mandingo warrior is used even today as a general reference to a strong African man. Coming in at number 3, we have the Yoruba. Now, in general, Nigeria is considered by many to be the most popular country in all of Africa, but we all know that there are numerous peoples and languages in the country of Nigeria, and the most popular group in the Western Hemisphere has to be the Yoruba people. The Yoruba constitute around 44 million people worldwide. They are no doubt one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. Ironically, even though they aren't the largest ethnic group in Nigeria, their fame still exceeds most. Their fame began to rise once their art form was discovered. The magnificent Yoruba sculptures single-handedly forced the world to reassess their view of African people. Unfortunately, the second wave of their fame was due to the Atlantic slave trade. So many Yorubas were taken in the slave trade that their language and religion began to greatly influence the Caribbean, South America, and parts of North America. Their religion still survives today throughout these regions, but in a slightly modified form. One of the Yoruba's greatest gods, Shango, even survived the Middle Passage. Even today, the Nigerians you'll encounter who have migrated to the US are more likely to be Yoruba. For number 2, we have the Ashanti. The Ashanti are no doubt a household name across the world. They reside mostly in Ghana and are believed to number around 9 million people. The Ashanti began to become more popular due to their interaction with the British. They've been said to be the most well-documented group of Africans. The kente cloth, which has been largely associated with Ashanti, has been the most adored object from West Africa across the world, and ironically, it's been used as a sort of symbol to represent all of Africa. African Americans in particular use this cloth to honor their African ancestry, and it's proudly worn by many on graduation gowns at HBCUs. The Ashanti have no doubt become a symbol of pride for not only African people, but all Afro-descended people across the world. In a way, it's become a sort of rite of passage to be acknowledged and embraced by the Ashanti people. As an Afro-descended person, many African American celebrities have been validated by Ashanti people and welcomed into the culture. And finally, coming in number 1, we had to know it was coming. We have the Zulu. Is there really any doubt that when anybody thinks of an African tribe, they think of the Zulu? They're estimated to consist of about 12 million people, and their culture historically has come to dominate the consciousness of Southern Africa. The Zulu are probably the most respected group of Africans on the continent due to their legendary battles with the British, and of course their legendary founder, Shaka Zulu. For a group of Africans without modern technology to bring absolute hell to the British the way they did was nothing short of excellence, and ironically, the British immortalized them because of it. Popular culture has a weird habit of denigrating yet glorifying the Zulu all at the same time, because the Zulu spirit cannot be denied. The Zulu are no doubt a symbol for warrior culture, not just for Africa, but the world. It's hard to match the legacy the Zulu left behind, as their name will never die. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to support in this continued production, you can show your support on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.